Part 1, describing the study. Why is this study being done? The Health Research Board, or HRB, is funding research that examines the experience of patients who have had a stroke recently. We wish to understand how best to plan and organise stroke services to meet the individual needs of people who have a stroke. We're interested in the whole patient journey from the moment the stroke symptoms started until a person gets home again. And in this particular study, we're especially interested in the earlier acute phase of stroke. By speaking with people who have recently had a stroke, or to a family member familiar with what happened around the time of the stroke, we may see patterns in their stories that might help us identify areas for improvement in care and services. We want to make every patient's stroke journey better and reduce any potential after effects that a person might have after a stroke. The experiences of people like those of your family member are very valuable to us, and we believe that hearing their story, albeit through a family member, will help us improve care for other people in future. Who is organising and funding this study? The study is being organised by a team of researchers who work at Beaumont Hospital and at the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. The study is funded by a grant from the Health Research Board and is part of a postgraduate qualification, or PhD, for a doctor who works in stroke care in Ireland. Why am I being asked to take part? We are asking you to consider taking part again because we feel we can learn from your family member's recent experience of having a stroke. We want to give all patients experiencing a stroke the opportunity to have their story included. We believe that understanding the individual stroke journey can help us improve how stroke care is organised for everyone who has a stroke in future. You've been contacted now because you already participated in a survey about stroke on behalf of your family member when they were in Beaumont Hospital around 3 months ago. At that time, you gave the research team permission to contact you again to talk about the second part of the study, an interview that would involve discussing your family member's experience of having a stroke in more detail after a period of about 3 months has passed. About 1 in every 5 people who completed the survey are now being invited for an interview to discuss their experiences in more detail with the added benefit of hindsight. The ability or capacity of your relative to participate directly and independently has again been discussed with your relative's consultant or GP, and their assessment is that your relative will again not be able to participate directly and independently themselves in this second part of the study, and so we're asking you again to consider participating on your relative's behalf. How will the study be carried out? This is the second part of the study where some people who completed the survey are now being invited to take part in an interview about their experience of the past 3 months. In the case of your family member, they still do not have the ability to participate directly themselves. We are therefore asking you to consider participating on their behalf. Interviews will last between 30 and 60 minutes and it can be held at your family member's place of residence, your own place of residence, on the RCSI Beaumont campus or online if you prefer. You would be asked to provide a proxy assent to the participation of your family member, with you acting as a proxy reporter on their behalf. You're under no obligation to participate in the second part of this research study. The researcher will accommodate your preferred medium for the interview. For example, she can visit you at home, in the home of your family member, arrange a video call, or on an online platform like Zoom or MS Teams. And if you prefer, you can be interviewed on the Beaumont campus, and this can also be arranged at a time of your choosing. The researcher will ask some questions about your family member's experiences, and this conversation will be recorded. The transcripts of recordings of all participant interviews will be prepared by a professional third-party transcriber and will be reviewed to find patterns in the stories that might help us understand aspects of the stroke journey that worked well and aspects that could be improved for patients and for their families. What will happen to me if I agree to take part? The researcher will review your family member's electronic medical records to see if they've had any new visits to the hospital or tests or scans since the survey was completed. The researcher may also need to contact your family member's GP or consultant, particularly if they reside in a nursing home. This is to ensure that the researcher is as up to date in your family member's care as she can be before you meet. During the interview, the researcher will ask you questions about your family member's experience at the time of their stroke, their time in hospital, and after they went home or to a rehab unit. The researcher will be very interested in observations that you may have about things that went well and things that you feel could have been done better for your family member. If you have ideas or opinions on how to improve the patient journey and experience, we would really like to hear them. If the interview is in person, you will be recorded in sound only. If the interview is via an online platform, then a video may be recorded. The researcher will ring you the day after the interview to check on your well-being and to answer any questions that you may have. You can stop participating in the interview at any time. If recalling or describing the details of your family member's stroke causes you any distress or upset, you can tell the researcher you wish to stop answering any questions at any time. You can stop for a break temporarily, or you can withdraw from the study altogether. This will not impact your family member's future medical care, and your distress will be acknowledged and supported. What are the benefits? While your family member may not benefit directly, it is hoped that the results of the study will help people who have a stroke in future to have the fastest possible access to the care they need. We want to improve how stroke services are planned and organised to make them as fast and efficient as possible for everyone, so that people have the best possible outcome after their stroke. What are the risks? This study involves an interview with questions about your family member's recent experience of stroke, stroke care and stroke services. For some people, this might be distressing to recall. If you experience any distress during or after the discussion, the questions in the interview, you can speak about this to your research team or to your GP. The contact details of the doctoral researcher are on the last page of this information leaflet. Additionally, the Irish Heart Foundation or IHF have a stroke support group who can be contacted by telephone on 0166850001 Monday to Friday 9am to 1pm, or they can also be contacted by email using the address support@irishheart.ie. What if something goes wrong when I'm taking part in this study? As this study involves an interview, it's very unlikely that anything will go wrong as a result of participating in the study. However, if you feel distress as a result of the interview, you can speak to the researcher or to your general practitioner. This form has contact details for the researcher on the last page. Is this study confidential? All information collected will remain confidential at all times. The personal details of your family member, name, age, geographic area from which where they live, and contact details such as telephone number and email address if available, and your name and contact details will be coded so that only the research team will be able to determine your identities. We will let your family member's GP know if you participate on their behalf. Your family member's medical records will remain in the possession of Beaumont Hospital at all times and never removed from the hospital for the study. You have the right to access all information gathered with regard to your contribution to the study, and we hope to publish the results of the study in scientific journals. However, you or your family member will not be identifiable in any publication. We will anonymously acknowledge your help in this study in future publications. What if my relative improves and is well enough to participate themselves? We hope very much that your relative improves and is able to participate and represent themselves in the study. There's a number of possibilities if this happens at the time of the interview. Your relative will be given the opportunity to see the responses that you gave to the survey and to edit any details if necessary. Your relative may prefer to answer the survey themselves, and if so, their responses will be the ones used in the study analysis. If your relative is well enough to participate in the interview independently, though is represented by you as their proxy reporter in the survey, they will be interviewed for the study rather than being represented by a proxy such as yourself again. And your relative may alternatively decide to withdraw from the study. And if this is the case, a discussion will be had as to the removal of data from the study as described in part 2.6, protecting your data, below.